All right, before I get murdered for the title of this video being somewhat not really kinda misleading, I guess. When I say dropping acid with the Beatles kinda, I mean I took acid at a Paul McCartney concert a few years ago. It's pretty much the closest thing that anyone will ever get to dropping acid with the Beatles ever again. So I don't know. I didn't know what else to call this video. So I actually have a video up on YouTube already talking about this experience, but it was really when it happened, and it was really hard to explain, and I really didn't know what I experienced. Honestly, I didn't. I don't even feel like I really completely appreciated it like I should have. I'm sure you know who the Beatles are, but if you don't know who Paul McCartney is a member of the Beatles. Anyways, this dude is a fucking genius, amazing artist. The Beatles are fucking epic beyond explanation or need of an explanation as far as who they are musically and what they inspired and what they were. And I've always been a huge fan of them. Like I said, I didn't really know what to expect or what I was even experiencing. I was very young, and I was just, honestly, I remember I was not even too excited for it. I remember my cousin Corey got 2 tickets, and one of them was his, and one of them he was going to give to somebody, and he decided to give it to me. I had been going to a bunch of fucking festivals and raves at that time, and my brother wasn't. So for some reason at that time, I got it in my head that I wanted to give my brother Daniel my ticket to be like a nice guy, because he really wasn't doing much. He was just, at home and not being able to do what I was doing because I was working or whatever. So I gave him my ticket, trying to be nice, until the night before. Then something came over me, and I was like, I have to go to this. What the fuck is wrong with me? The night before, I ended up trying to get a ticket on StubHub. In the morning, I woke up, and the ticket was not for sale anymore. Something happened, but StubHub found me a ticket, and the only way I can get a ticket was getting 2 at the same time, so I ended up taking a friend, Chris. Our seats were way in the back, so we thought it was going to kind of suck, but it was actually the best spot of the house. Like, every time I go to the Hollywood Bowl now, I go all the way to the back just because you can stand. You don't have to sit. There's not people behind you. There's not much security up there, so you can smoke. It's really the best spot. It's really far away, but it's still the best spot, and sounds really good. So, randomly, we get acid. We weren't even sure if we were going to be able to get it. I remember that specific day, we just ended up finding somebody, or I don't remember exactly what happened, but we got it. It was crazy going, because the crowd who was there for Paul McCartney is not anything like how I was used to or I had experienced before. I am used to like raves and all these young ass kids, and over there it was nothing but older people and very, very few young people. And I remember specifically we went and asked for directions from some cop who was like showing where parking was and shit. And he's like, "Wait, you guys are coming to see Paul McCartney?" It's like a group of 4 Mexicans in a car playing fucking rap music. And he's like, "Yeah." We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right." And then he just pointed us to where parking was. And so yeah, it was a different vibe. It was nothing that I couldn't handle or nothing like that. It was awesome. So before we actually got out of the car, we parked and we dropped our acid right there. I remember they were, I'm not sure exactly what they were actually, but I remember it was just one dose each. It was nothing crazy. And I remember coming up pretty fast. I remember we took them in the car, we got out of the car, and we had to walk about a mile to the venue because we were parked so far. But I remember by the time we got to the venue, I was fucking tripping out. And, when you're in a crowd and you're on acid, you hear just a bunch of people talking around you. And, I mean, obviously you're going to hear that too if you're not on acid. But when you're on acid, you actually, hear multiple people at the same time, and you can understand what they're saying at the same time. And a lot of the time, you'll get their voices mixed with your voice in your head, and you'll start thinking people are saying things they're not really saying. I've experienced that a lot. So that's how I was going in there. And in the Hollywood Bowl, it's really packed when you get in, and you have to walk up these stairs on the side. So it was a real trip get into our seats. Corey and my brother actually were lower, so we had to say goodbye to them, and me and Chris walked all the way up. First we sat in our seats, and then we realized how crowded that was, and just how kind of uncomfortable it was. What we did is we went up about a section, and then we just stood against a wall. Back there, nobody fucks with you. There's 4 security guards. It's a real chill spot, which was perfect for taking acid at that venue. From there, my memory of the night goes pretty blurry, but what I do remember is flashes of fucking brilliance, like amazing. I remember the first song he was already playing by the time we got in, and he was playing "Drive My Car," which is a real upbeat. I remember feeling just like all dope. I don't know. I just remember feeling cool when I walked in. We were feeling good. Chris rolled a joint, and we took like 2 hits each of it, feeling good on top of everything. And then all of a sudden, a security guard comes and takes our joint and fucking smashes it and shit. And we're just stuck there like fuck. And that kind of made my trip go a little, I wouldn't say bad, but a little down, a little weird. A little too much thinking was going on. But I'm not saying it was bad at all, because I was watching Paul McCartney, and he did so many old Beatles songs that it was insane. They had crazy ass visualizations on the screens, and just it was honestly, I felt like at the time it was made to be tripped at. Like they were trying to trip me out personally. So we're sitting there, no more weed at all. I think we had like a little bit more weed and one more paper left. But we were tripping balls, and like it was really hard to roll such a little amount of weed, and we had no bowl or no pipe or nothing, so we had to roll it. I remember Chris was tripping so much that he was rolling it, and he was getting so frustrated with it because there was so little weed that he just ended up just smashing it all up and just throwing it in the wind. And I sat there like, what? Why did you just do that? I felt so like sad. I remember feeling crazy. And he was like, at first he was like, fuck it. And then like 30 seconds later, he was like, oh, why did I do that? But somehow, a few minutes later, we ended up talking to a dude who had snuck in through the hills behind the Hollywood Bowl. He literally climbed the fucking hills behind it, jumped a big ass fence, and was just chilling back there for free. And this dude was, I don't remember exactly what it looked like because I was frying at the time, but I remember him looking real fucking like a dude who would climb some hills and shit. And he was completely cool though. What was so awesome about meeting that guy is he actually had a fucking piece and packed a fat ass bowl of just pure hash. And we were fucking faded right then and there. We were fucking high as shit for the rest of the night. And that made my trip go up insanely. I remember after that he played Hey Jude, and I was trying to not to cry. I remember trying not to cry for a few different songs. There was a song he did, I forget what it's called, Here Today. And John, it's pretty much a dedication to John Lennon. Like it's a song he wrote to John Lennon, kind of, in a way. And he just mentioned his name and said, hey, this is for John. And I remember during that song, like, I don't know, I know this is weird to say, but I really felt like John Lennon's fucking presence was there. Like, I know that's weird, like, people are gonna hear that and like, oh god. But seriously, like, I really felt like, I don't necessarily want to say his presence, maybe his spirit is a better word, but it was definitely there, and you could see it in the faces of people around you. I remember during during Hey Jude, there's a part where it's na 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 na, that part, and he had first the guy sing it with just pretty much the drums in the background and just the dude sing it, and then the girl sang it, and it was this entire fucking thousands of people crowd full of women singing na 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 na, and how beautiful it was, and there was just blue lights. And I remember that literally probably being, to this day, one of the most beautiful fucking sounds I have ever heard in my life. It was like water entering your ears. I mean, that sounds like an earache, but you know what I mean? It was like oxygen sounding. I don't know. It felt amazing to hear that. And I remember that time I might not have been able to hold back a couple tears. That was amazing. I remember him playing Give Peace a Chance, which was I never heard that song before. And it was beautiful. I fucking remember almost crying to that. There's a lot of almost crying, and I've done this a few different times on acid. I remember doing it at Steve Aoki set because acid was so good. It's just sometimes I get so in awe and amazed by what's happening, I just can't hold back. He ended with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Did he end with that? I think he did. I don't know, but either way, I remember that just being like the most amazing experience ever. That was beyond words, and I trip out because of all the random things that had to occur for it to happen the way it did. Like me to randomly just choose to get another ticket, and then the next day StubHub hooking me up, and then fucking like the dude with the hash, and fucking finding acid randomly, and just like, I don't know, just everything. And it was so random, but it was so fucking perfect at the same time. It's like, I don't know, it's beyond words. It definitely changed me for the better. It like softened my soul. It made me a lot more happy. I remember leaving there and just being happy. And wow, it was really something that I will never, ever, ever forget. That was one of the more insightful and eye-opening, enlightened experiences I've had with LSD. And it was definitely clean, 100% pure LSD. And I remember knowing that in the car, because I remember light shows were a big way how I could tell if I was really on acid or not. And we did a couple light shows just because we were waiting for traffic to dissipate. And I remember we did a few light shows, and it was To the End, I remember, by Jim Morrison for sure. And they were just acid light shows, pure LSD light shows. And yeah, it was just an amazing fucking experience, and I'll never forget it. And I thank you, Paul McCartney, for and everybody involved in that whole thing. StubHub, even, fucking the dude with the hash, like the guy with the acid, like, you guys all helped me experience that, which is insane. So yeah, that's my experience dropping Beatles with the. So yeah, that's my experience dropping acid with the Beatles, kinda. I don't even know if I should have named it that. I might get shot at or something. Either way, my name is Life4WD4. Subscribe to my channel. I make a lot of different videos. I make music. And I throw up gang signs that probably ain't really gang signs. Now, these are real gang signs. I can just go like that. That's not really a gang sign. Anyways. I'm making a video.
Okay.
All right.